All right, I was thinking about this earlier, and it just dawned on me a little while ago about how church is one thing, but spirituality, for me, in religion, is another. Let me explain what I'm talking about here. This is going to be on my other podcast. I entitled it Inspire. Although it should be on DJ Wolf Live, but I'll explain. All right, guys. I was thinking about something earlier regarding religion and church. For me, church is more of a, and I'm not necessarily putting it down, because I've been back in church the last 7 years. But I gotta be honest about it. Actually, 7 years. But I have to be honest about it. In the last 7 years, I noticed a couple of things. Church, for me, at least the way I've seen it since I started back in 2012, as far as with certain aspects of it, is more of a social construct, especially in the black church. It's, matter of fact, much of it is more of a social construct to me, personally. I don't know if I should get over and let that car out. And the reason why I say that is because I see how people act. And I'm not saying everybody. But in church sometimes, and I think maybe it's just a normal progression because where I attend, many people go there, and they go there quite often. I'm not going to look. I need to get home myself. Oh, this is the bus line. No wonder I should let you over. The social. What I'm trying to say is the natural progression, especially when you have a pretty good sized congregation. Sometimes you're not always able to get a chance to talk to the people you want to talk to, and sometimes people you do want to talk to may see you and just zip by you, and you thinking they're not trying to speak to you when they actually probably ain't paying attention that you were even there, and not intentionally. Although some people are like that, though. Trust me, there are a few like that. I'm saying that, but it's I've learned over the years to deal with that. No harm, no foul, But I think for the black church, especially when it comes to black women, it's a social construct, And I don't want to get into schematics about it right now. Maybe I'll talk about it on another podcast. I likely will. But I noticed it, though. It's more of a cohesive bond, sort of. They seem to be more talkative. They seem to be more. There's more of a bond, with them on it anyway. And for a number of them, it's a social construct where they gather once a week and chit chat, and some of them gossip, because there's gossip going on in church all the time. Don't care what church you go to, gossip and drama. But I, for the most part, do not deal with that mess. What I deal with when I go with myself is the spirituality aspect of it. Something a lot of people do not do. Oh my God, here we go. And he'll say, I ran the light. Or you ran the light? No, I didn't. I wasn't even speeding. If I was speeding, it'd be another story. But it's it's actually spirituality for me in the church is what I go for. I don't go for the church to necessarily be sociable. I mean, and even if I try in fellowship, in some cases I even try. But the fellowship part, of course, I try fellowship. That's a big part of church. But that hasn't always boded well for me. It hasn't, because the church aspect takes over some people's thoughts over the spiritual aspect where the fellowship comes in. It does. And it's more like, and that's where it goes on the church side, where it's more of a hierarchy to me than a spiritual, religious aspect to it. Because they talk about fellowship, but it's only practiced during the time you're in there. It's not anything that extends outside of that. But true fellowship is that to me, But that's neither here nor there. And that's fine. It's whatever. It really is. It's whatever. So, but, it's what you make of it. I don't go there necessarily for that. I go there to get what I need to get in the Word. And one of the things I know I do is read my lessons, and I'm trying to get more into reading the Bible. I used to have a thing called the Daily Audio Bible, which is really good, man. It breaks it down for you. I'm going to start back listening. I should listen to it today. Especially when you like sleeping at night. I think that's what I'm going to start doing at night. I'm going to start listening to it. From my own, sanity. Now, I think when we get, here we go again. I think when you get into the spirituality aspect of religion, the church aspect is overtaken by that. For me, because I'm not into that. I'm not into the social construct too much. I'm really not. And I don't deal with that. I don't deal with all of that other stuff that plays in. Damn, girl. Plays in place there. Look at me talking about religion. Look at this girl's ass. Shame on me. But I'm only human, That's the other thing, Just because you into religion and are religious does not mean you're not human. You are mortal. So certain things you do that may not necessarily be a bad thing, but not necessarily, but some people eyes not necessarily be a good thing. I mean, I appreciate the beauty of a woman. She is thick. I appreciate the beauty of a good-looking woman, of a woman, period. Especially when she's fine. I do. I really do. Otherwise, what's the point you looking at? But religion, for me, is what you make of it. I mean, just saying, it's what you make of it. That's really what it comes down to. But you try to get right with it. You try to get serious about it. You try to really get into the lessons for you to learn about what you need to do and keep yourself grounded in life. And not deal with the social construct aspect of it, which I try as little as possible not to do. Because sometimes you get caught up in that mess, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of messes going on that you should have no need to be involved with, at all. And then it goes to another, it takes it to another whole level, that you don't need to be going. just wanted to say that fast, I really did, because there are times where I just feel like, we all need something to keep us grounded. And even though church ain't the most perfect place to be at, I'll admit to that. At least it's not a bad thing, because I know there are members, and some members that you can tell who think they're above it all. I'll admit that. I mean, I've seen it before when I was going to church at my mom's church that I was a member of many years ago. Was the same way. They were, oh my God, there was this one lady there, named Miss Barbara. She was terrible, man. Every time she see either new members join or a certain member did a simple mistake or something like that, she was just like, and she was just judging everybody. I mean, everybody who just, or even people who just joined. Oh, she was horrible. I used to hear her all the time. I was like, who does she think she is? And gossip like I don't know what. Really? That's a real dickhead to drive around here, man. That's a woman doing that too. Old woman at that. You hit me, I'm taking your. I'm gonna take your. Go ahead. Just saying. I mean, she out here balling out here. Go ahead, man. I can use some money. I mean, you ain't going anywhere anymore than I am. You see the traffic here. I'm gonna do another whole podcast on these people. Are terrible on these roads, man. They are absolutely 100 grade A terrible out here. And they drive like they're the only people on the road. They literally do. I mean, really? I mean, she just right up on my bumper real hard, man. But it's just ridiculous. These people don't look. They just jump out here. They don't. Damn. They really do. But yeah, back to where I'm saying. The main thing is to keep focused on why you there. What are you getting out of the service? What are you getting out of Sunday school? What are you getting out of Bible study, which actually is tonight? I should go. What are you getting out of it? Here's the thing that I have issues with, and I mean, I say on the church side. On the church side of it, you go up and there are members there, and you'll speak to them, whatever. And me and my old lady, we're walking in together. They'll speak to her, they'll speak to me. I'm like, well, how do we never mind. So I just like, forget it. I just tend to ignore it anymore. First of all, I was a little bothered about it. I was like, wait a minute. You know who I am. We spoke to you before. But when you see her, you totally act like I'm not even in the door. And it's not this. My issue is if I'm greeting you when I see you and my old lady greets you and you speak only to her, that means you're really being biased towards me as far as I'm concerned. That's where I go with it. But I now I'm kind of like, I don't even care. If you don't, I don't want no part of you no way. Because that shows me you're on the church side. When I say church, I'm referring to the business end of what church is. And only business. And I won't go any further with you on that. We ain't got to speak. And that's where I see it. Actually, the pastor said that a while ago about that. He said they don't speak to you, just move on. And he's right. He's totally right. And I'm a better person because of that. A lot of us get hung up on the fact, well, church people, they just think that they're better than everybody and blah, blah, blah. I don't feel that way. I've been going the last 7 years. I don't feel that way at all. I really don't. I know some people probably feel that way about me, and I don't give a damn. And that's why I say fellowship is probably one of the, I hate to say biggest fraud, but it's not. I mean, in terms of the church aspect and what it's supposed to mean, it's kind of fraudulent to me because not everybody's hearts are about that. It's just about who your real friends are and blah, blah, blah. It's not about fellowship overall, but people in general in your church. You know, my wife told me one time, man, you just like to speak to everybody. I said, yeah, that's what fellowship's about. I'm not going to try to just be picky and choosy about who I speak to or who I not. I like to speak to everybody. That's what true fellowship is to me. You know? True fellowship. Just saying. That's what I mean by the fraudulent thing, because some people ain't really that serious about it. I am. You know? But like I said, even if you don't speak, that's fine with me. I don't care. You know, I'm not hung up on that kind of stuff. I'm really not. Man, make up your mind. Oh, man. What are you doing? Left or right? Which one you gonna do? Look at that messing around. Yapping on the phone. Kind of like I am doing, but at least I'm looking at the road. They look like they're looking at the phone on a beltway at that. But that's the thing I wanted to talk about, man, because it was kind of weighing on my mind a little bit. It kind of really was today, and I kind of feel, for me, I think I'm a better person because of that. I don't worry about what people say, because you know what? No matter what, where you're at, be it work, a relative's house, church, or wherever, you can't control what people say. You can't control people's thoughts. You can't control the way people look at you or talk about you or whatever. It's not in your control. You know? Really, it's in God's control, because you don't have that kind of control to say, you know, I'm going to make you shut up because I don't like what you say about me. That's not, no, that's not up to you. Because you don't have that kind of will. You don't have that kind of kind of power. The only will you have is the will of yourself. The will of yourself to say, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that. Because you have to remember, life is too short to be worried about small stuff anyway. That's the old saying that goes. And it really is. Why am I concerned about why somebody didn't speak to me, or why, you know, you didn't shake my hand or this, that? Because I've been through that too. Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, we did a thing at our church. It was for pastor's, I think it was birthday or anniversary, one of them. About 2 or 3 years ago. And so my wife and I were greeters. We were picked to be greeters. I don't know how I got picked for that, but that's another story. So I volunteer. That's okay. I'll do it. You know, I don't like to really turn down too much when it comes to church and asking me for things. I have done it though, but not often. And because I like to, you know, to show that I'm very much part of the fellowship at the church and serving. But we were greeters or whatever, and he said, "Hey, how you doing?" Blah blah blah. The hands, whatever. But one dude, I knew who he was. He was actually a member of the pastor's family. Oh yeah, I ain't gonna say who it was. And he was just he was an arrogant mother. Excuse my French. See, I'm about to go. I had to cut myself off, but he was. I'm not gonna lie. And of course, I suppose my wife she didn't say a word to me. You know, I seen a couple times. I don't have much to say because the dude, you know, I guess you think because your dad's a pastor of a church, you know, that you big time. Some PKs are like that though. PKs are preachers' kids. There are some PKs that do act that way, very much so. Yep. But I don't worry about all that no more. I don't worry about any of it. I really don't. You know, like I said, life is too short for that mess. Life is too short to worry about anything that's not really worth even thinking about. That's real talk. You know? Ain't no point you stressing. You can't let it affect you. Even if someone else let it affect them, don't let that affect you. Don't let them steal your joy. Don't let anybody try to overstress you or stress you at all. You know. Just move. Just take your time. And breathe in, breathe out a little bit. The woosah thing, and on to the to the next chapter or whatever. And not not worry about it. Because like I said, people do stuff like that all the time. You got people who are good people and people who are bad people everywhere you go, including church. Yeah. And you shouldn't let it stop you from going. If you want to go, if you want to get your praise on and get right with God. Nothing wrong with that. Definitely nothing wrong with it and not worry about what anybody thinks. Because people are going to think what they think no matter where you're at. That's the lesson that I had to learn. It's not going to matter where you're at. But I do think I can understand why some people do, because you would think there'd be the one place where you wouldn't get judged. Oh, but en contraire, mon frere, I can't say that you would never get judged, because people do it all the time. I know that for a fact. Even at church. But think about it. During Jesus' time, and this is real talk, during Jesus' time, you had people doing pretty much the same devilish stuff then that they do now. Blasphemy, adultery, all kinds of stuff. Everything that went on then is pretty much everything that goes on now. Even in the church of that time. So think about it. You had people who gossip. You had people who lied. You had people real snakes that were in the church then. Did all kinds of stuff. In and outside the church during that time period. That's why those lessons were written. Those lessons were written to be kind of a bylaw to your personal life. It really is, if you think about it. It's a bylaw to your personal life. That's what the Bible's about. Almost anything that you could think of in terms of what goes on today, the Bible can tell you what's right about it and what's not. And I don't give a daggone who you are, what you're dealing with. The Bible has an answer for it. I'm dead serious. And I meant what I said, because it does. Whether you think it was written by modern man or whether you think it was written by ancient man or whatever. But if you think about it, a lot of what goes on right now, there's a lot of stuff you read about in the Bible. And, in the last 7 years, I realized how well my eyes opened up to all of that. And realized that much of the hurt and backstabbing and hate and death and everything else that's going on today is pretty much the same stuff that went on then. It is. You remember when the Nat Turner movie came out a few years ago? Y'all remember that. I love the scene where Nat Turner, I forgot the actor's name. Was it Nate Park or something like that? I forgot his name. I think that was his real name. Anyway, the actor Nat Turner, the guy who played him. Anyway, in the movie, I don't remember if he was a pastor or not. That's another story now. But anyway, he was reading scriptures in the movie. In the church, in the movie. And first he was reading scriptures verse for verse, like he always did. But the same verses that he read was really a way to tell people, hey, this is what we're going to do. And they used it against the revolt of the slave masters. Say, okay, you saying this, but this is really what it means to us. You know. And the thing of it is, anything and everything that goes on today is based on a lot of stuff that went on in the Bible. That's a fact. It's undeniable. You know? But you could always have a reference about much of it. And that's why people say the Bible is a spoken word and the true word. Because for the most part, it is. I know some of y'all say, it all is. You know. And, you know, I know some people say, well, now here's the thing that I don't, and I've learned that even when going to Sunday school. For me, going to Sunday school, ain't you got a little too far? Okay. Really? This idiot. He stick his car out well past by the where the cars got to go across. He blocked traffic. But even when I found a Sunday school, you got some of the teachers and a couple of who come out, and they literally do go by the book. I actually taught Sunday school myself back in the 1980s. I love doing it. I really did. I wish I had kept doing it until the time I got ready to go in the military, which actually at that point, that is when I stopped doing it. And what I try to do when I taught Sunday school lessons, I always try to compare it with what was going on today. Always. And that's why you heard me say everything that happens today, or that you hear about today is going on, all the stuff that happens when people do this, that, and the other, good and bad. It's literally the same stuff that goes on in the Bible. Or it is. A lot of it. Much of it is. And it's undeniable that you can't say that it's not, because it's true. It does. And that's a fact. You can say this, that, and the other, but I'm telling you, the reality is what they call the true spoken word. It is. It really is. But that's why when I taught Sunday school back in the 1980s, I actually did try to reference and try to get young minds in there to understand or have a way of understanding what the lesson's about based on and apply it to everyday principles in life. I think honestly, and I've said it before, I think if more people that taught Sunday school taught it that way, and even I thought about that even as a teenager, if more people taught Sunday school then the way that it needs to be learned now, people would have a better understanding of it, and people would be excited to go to church. And especially young people. That's where we really need to start at. I'm actually thought about proposing a Sunday school for young boys where I could teach that. You know, don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but I have to get myself right and really immaculated back into the Word before I can even say that. Seriously. But I know I can do it. I know it can be done. You know, it's just a matter of reading it, studying it, reading it again, learning the verses, knowing the words, knowing the scriptures, and backing it up with scriptures. Because one thing about religion, I can honestly say, I love. Man, what's wrong with you? She sleep on the road. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Hope you're okay. I love going into learning about the lessons and stuff, and how you're being given the knowledge about religion. See, some people use their religion to, from what I've seen, to entertain, in lack of a better word. you know. And I'll say on some aspects, you're really not there to entertain. You're really there to teach. Even when you sing, when I sing with a choir, I'm not just singing to be singing. I'm singing for God. I'm actually singing to teach people about what God is telling us. And that's a fact. And I know there's some people say, oh yeah, look at him. He's just showing off. I've had, well, actually, people actually have said that to me, personally. But, yeah, I guess you could say I'm doing that, but I ain't just doing it to be showing off. I'm doing it to try to convey a message. I'm doing it to try to get people to hear what I'm talking about. To be honest. Because when you sing in the choir, that's what you really are supposed to be doing anyway. You're supposed to be teaching through song, through music. And that's the way I feel when I sing. When I was singing every praise. Every praise is through our God. Every word of worship of one accord. The fellowship. There you go. Fellowship. That's exactly the point. That's why I love that song. That's the first thing that Hezekiah Walker says in the song. Every word of worship on one accord, because we understand it together in fellowship with God. That's what it's about. But for me, I have to stick with the religion, spiritual side. And then, if I need to come over to the church on the business end, I will. But right now, I'm going to keep it spiritual. For me. All right, guys and gals, that's all I got right now. I just wanted to give you my 2 cents on that. I just happened to lay heavy on my mind today, and I actually felt that I had to talk. It was a need for me to talk about it. It really was a very, very much a need for me to talk about it today, because I had to. I really, simply put, had to talk about it today. You know what I'm saying? So, with that in mind, oh, there's a lot of traffic in here. Might as well go down there. With that in mind, just wanted to say this is DJ Wolf. Of course, as always, I have something to say on the back burner. This show, or this podcast, is called Inspired. This is the first one I've done. I meant to do this a few months ago. I'm going to do more of it. So, stay tuned. This is DJ Wolf. This podcast is called Inspired. And I'm hoping that what I said today will inspire you. All right, guys. That's all I got. I'm out.